Stay silent, and everything will come naturally. It sounds simple, almost too simple, doesn't it? Yet in a world that glorifies noise, where every opinion must be shouted, every success must be shared, every thought must be broadcast, the wisdom of silence is both rare and revolutionary. It is in silence that your strength matures. It is in silence that your faith deepens. It is in silence that God whispers to you the truths that the world cannot hear. Silence is not weakness. Silence is discipline. It is control over your impulses, your words, and your reactions. It is the mark of someone who knows that the most powerful storms make no sound until they arrive. When you choose silence, you choose mastery. You stop reacting to every distraction, every insult, every piece of negativity trying to pull you away from your purpose. You stop wasting energy explaining yourself to people, committed to misunderstanding you. You stop needing validation from the crowd, because when you walk with God, you realize that you don't need to announce your journey. You just need to walk it faithfully. The results will speak for themselves. The fruit of your patience will become the evidence of your growth. The reward of your discipline will silence every doubt. But silence does not mean inactivity. It does not mean passivity. It means focus. It means channeling your energy where it matters most, on becoming, on building, on believing. In that quiet space between who you are and who you're becoming, God is doing His greatest work. The seed grows underground. The diamond forms in darkness. The warrior trains in solitude. And you too are being shaped when no one is watching. The silence you keep today will echo as strength tomorrow. So many people lose their power because they cannot hold their peace. They speak too soon. They react too fast. They let their emotions run ahead of their wisdom. But if you can remain still when your flesh wants to fight, if you can trust God's timing when your mind screams for control, you will step into a life that no human hand could have built for you. The Lord said, "Be still and know that I am God." That's not just a call to rest. It's a command to trust. To stop worrying, stop forcing, stop overthinking, and to allow His plan to unfold. Staying silent doesn't mean doing nothing. It means letting the right things happen naturally. It means planting your effort and leaving the results in His hands. Too often, we try to rush what was meant to mature. We try to control what only faith can release. But silence teaches you patience. It teaches you how to wait with dignity. It teaches you how to let go of anxiety and step into the peace that surpasses understanding. There is divine order in silence. When you stop speaking, you start hearing. You start noticing the small signals, the ones that guide you toward your purpose. You begin to recognize how every delay, every closed door, every unanswered prayer is not a punishment, but a preparation. The noise of the world blinds you to the voice of the Spirit, but in silence that voice becomes clear. It becomes the compass that leads you forward when logic fails. And that's why urgency and silence must walk together. Don't confuse silence with hesitation. Don't confuse peace with laziness. Urgency means you live with intention, with purpose, with clarity, but without panic. You move fast in faith, not in fear. You take decisive action when God says move, but you also wait quietly when He says be still. That balance between urgency and surrender is where true power lives. That's where you become unstoppable. The world tells you to hustle until you burn out. God tells you to trust until you bloom. The world says shout your success. God says let your fruit reveal it. The world says react to everything. God says choose peace in everything. And when you align with that higher rhythm, everything begins to flow naturally. Opportunities come not because you chase them, but because you were prepared for them. The right people enter your life not because you forced connections, but because your spirit was ready to receive them. Silence gives birth to strength. It makes you unpredictable. It keeps your enemies guessing. They can't sabotage what they can't see. They can't attack what they don't understand. When you move in silence, your progress becomes sacred. You protect your vision from small minds and weak opinions. You keep your energy for the mission, not for the noise. And slowly, you start to see the power of divine timing. The doors that once seemed locked begin to open. The opportunities that once felt impossible begin to align. Not because you shouted louder, but because you listened deeper. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in life come when you stop trying to prove your worth. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to respond to every insult. You don't have to explain your journey to people who weren't assigned to walk it with you. Silence is confidence without arrogance. It's faith without fear. It's knowing that what God started in you, He will finish. And no amount of noise can change that. Think about Jesus. Before every miracle, before every major decision, He withdrew to pray. He didn't announce His plans. He didn't justify His purpose. He went away into solitude, into silence, to connect with the Father. And when He returned, He spoke with authority because His silence had empowered His Spirit. That's the model. Silence is where you gather your strength before you speak powerfully. Silence is where you find peace before you face pressure. Silence is where you listen to the voice of God before you respond to the voice of the crowd. The enemy wants to distract you with noise because he fears your stillness. He knows that when you're quiet, you become dangerous because that's when you're most connected to God. You stop living by impulse and start living by purpose. You stop moving from emotion and start moving from conviction. That's when every action you take carries divine weight. Every decision becomes guided, every step becomes blessed, and every challenge becomes a setup for victory. So yes, stay silent. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Not because you don't care, but because you trust. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you've learned that timing is everything. When the time is right, you'll speak and your words will move mountains. But until then, let your silence build your character. Let your discipline shape your destiny. Let your faith do the talking. You must live with urgency, but not desperation. Act today, not tomorrow. Forgive now, not later. Pursue your calling while it's still called today. But in that pursuit, never lose your peace, because peace is not the absence of movement. It's the presence of purpose. Urgency is knowing that life is short. Silence is knowing that God is eternal. Together, they make you unstoppable. You don't need to shout to be heard in heaven. You just need faith. You don't need to rush to see results. You just need consistency. You don't need to explain your vision to everyone. You just need to walk it faithfully. Every day that you remain silent and disciplined, the universe takes note. Every day that you act with urgency, the heavens align with your effort. That combination of quiet focus and burning faith will separate you from the ordinary. It will make you a magnet for miracles. People will wonder how you did it. They'll think it happened overnight. They won't realize it was years of silent work, of unshakable faith, of humble obedience, but you'll know that. Everything came naturally when you stopped forcing it. You'll know that when you stayed silent, God was moving loudly behind the scenes. You'll know that your stillness was your strategy and your trust was your weapon. So from this moment on, carry that balance in your spirit, urgent but calm, silent but unstoppable, humble but fierce. Work hard but don't boast. Move fast but don't rush. Speak truth, but only when your words have weight. Let your life be the sermon. Let your results be the voice. Let your peace be your power. Because when you stay silent in strength, everything you've prayed for begins to move in your direction naturally, perfectly, divinely. And when it all unfolds, when your season finally arrives, you won't need to say a word. Your success will speak the language of faith fulfilled. Your peace will testify louder than your pain ever did. Your joy will be the proof that staying silent and trusting God was the most powerful thing you ever did. Stay silent, and everything will come naturally. Not because the world makes it easy, but because God makes it possible.